All right, guys. So I want to make a very quick video to give you guys an update on what's happening with the YAM situation. Less than 10 minutes ago, this update was posted. The YAM post rescue attempt update, basically describing how the devs unfortunately were unable to save YAM itself from being locked out. So now it turns out the case where the whole entire community is locked out of making any more changes to YAM. So all that idea of governance, basically that doesn't apply at this current case anymore. And now there's two views, right? Now the community, we kind of see YAM prices dropping because the value of governance improvements is lost. And also it's also making a kind of a negative turn on a lot of DeFi projects that were also locked up in YAM as well. So if you look at the past 24 hours and you sort that out, Ampleforth, YFI, Compound, these were two coins that were really brought up by YAM in the past. So we had a micro dip that happened, and this kind of explains everything that's going on in this current space. I also did a live video, so just kind of things happen, but I'm going to take that to unlisted because this video will have more up-to-date information about what happened. Let's take a look from the developer side. So they talk about what happened. I'm just going to read it as it's written. So I'm not the actual dev. And so approximately at 6 p.m. UTC, we discovered a bug in the YAM rebasing contract that will mint far more YAM than intended to sell to the Uniswap YAM ycrv pool, sending a large amount of excess YAM to the pool reserve. Given YAM's governance module, this bug would render impossible to reach quorum, meaning that no governance action would be possible and funds in the treasury would be locked. So now the whole community, both the devs and the community, were essentially locked out of creating any new proposals to YAM. And also, we're locked out of making any treasury changes because the treasury is holding so much YAM that it's no longer possible for our community to reach quorum. Now, we tried, all right? So prior to this, we actually did try to reach quorum to try to do an emergency fix on that. So let's take a look. So we believed achieving quorum for a bug fix proposal would allow us to save the protocol, and we quickly rallied the community to delegate their votes towards this end. Shortly after 7 a.m. UTC, we submitted a governance proposal and cast a vote that we originally believed were sufficient in votes to be able to enact it. Shortly thereafter, from the help of security experts, we concluded that the rebaser bug would interact with the governance module and prevent this proposal from succeeding. So this was the biggest problem. So if you actually take a look, just looking at the timeline. So I took the screenshot roughly 30 minutes prior to the rebase. You know, the community met its goal. I was also pledging my YAMs and supporting that. And in fact, there was additional accounts on that I was trying to support this with. So you know, it looked almost like as if we were going to win the battle, right? The votes were more, you can see the green line, it was more than what were needed. In fact, this arrow kept growing. It was like, some overwhelming support from this community. Everyone was hyped up. And then unfortunately, it was realized that it was still not enough. So just with the help of security experts, they just realized, you know what, unfortunately, even with the community all voting and initially reaching that goal that they thought would make it, it just didn't happen. So what the community managed to achieve in the past 30 hours was nothing short of incredible. When we deployed the contract about 48 hours ago, we could have never imagined the massive coordination game that this would unfold. So let's see what the state of YAM is. Let's hear from the developers. YAM will live as long as Ethereum continues to operate with the support for contracts as written. It will no longer be modified by governance. So on a technical level, it will behave on a similar fashion to other rebasing assets such as Ample or Ampleforth. The YAM ycrv pool will remain unsafe in perpetuity. Though the YAM community managed to get 75% of the liquidity out of the pool before the second rebase, any residual liquidity should be removed. So this is very important. So unlike with Ampleforth, where there is a Uniswap Ample pair, and which is very active right now. With YAM, this is no longer possible. It's mostly because of the way the contract is written. It interferes with how this pool works. So it's always under risk of the contract just dumping into this pool. So definitely not advised to stay in that pool at this current point of time. Now there's talk about YAM 2.0. So developers, they're saying, okay, look, they believe that the community deserves to persist. They're setting up a funding project to coordinate. And if the funding goal is reached, and they plan to use the funds to complete an audit and launch YAM 2.0 via a contract, migration contract from YAM. So that's interesting. So that means maybe the project will continue in some form or the other if the community decides and once they set it up. The community reaction was kind of interesting. I would say it's actually a lot more positive. So if you read the developer tweet, I think it's very apparent that they never wanted this to happen in the first place. Belmore says, "I'm sorry, everyone. I failed. Thank you for the insane support today. I'm sick with grief." And yeah, it's unfortunate. And, obviously they kind of learn from the mistakes. I think it's very clear that it was a situation that the community moved too fast, too furious, both the developers and the community itself. There was so much attention brought onto YAMs because people thought this was going to be something very cool, very awesome. And in many senses, there wasn't too much risk in actually farming YAM itself. The contracts to farm YAM itself, they haven't been compromised so far anyways. Fingers crossed, there's still risks there. But those contracts are still safe. So I think a lot of reasons why people aren't so angry is because people got a lot of the YAM for free. That being said, did I make money from this? No. So I'm not part of the project, I'm not part of the team, but I did mine it. I told you guys about that. And prior to this, I actually broke one of my own rules. So instead of just farming YAM, hours before the success of the major vote, I actually bought some YAM. I thought, oh, maybe it'll be interesting to speculate on YAMs. What a bad idea that was. So I actually broke one of my own rules and I got punished within an hour for that. I do want to say, everyone, a lot of people gave me really positive messages afterwards. I think I chose to come out with it because I felt that was the most honest way to just talk to you guys, and I'm kind of over it now. It was still a big loss, but I think, we'll move on. It's not the end of the world. So, net gain, I'm still very much big positive gain from yield farming overall. But overall, this made me a lot more cautious, a lot more careful audits, and kind of slowing the speed down. So that's the story so far. So conclusion, devs were unable to save the smart contract, to save the governance, to save the entire community from being locked out. Unfortunately for now, there's no more modifications that can be done with the YAM contract. And it'll just continue on. It's not completely dead, but it just means that we, as a community, can't make any changes to it. Ethereum has it. Now it's into the ether, as we all say it. Maybe there'll be a YAM 2.0. That's uncertain so far as to what's going to happen next. But I feel like it was good to update you guys with the latest news on what's happening with the whole YAM situation. And with that, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, like these updates, leave a comment down below what you think about this whole YAM situation. Click like and subscribe down below. See you next video.